What's up, everybody? Yes, we've been missing for a while. It's a brand new year. We promised to start in February. Today, we've got a very special guest. Welcome back to Mamak Sessions 2021. It's a brand new year. It's 2021. Chinese New Year season, and we're still stuck at home. Shu Fei, how have you been?
I'm good. I nothing to say lah. I just stay home the whole time.
I know. It's like, I remember at one point in time, we're like, yay, we're back in the studio. We can talk, it's fun and blah, 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 blah. And after that, all of a sudden, we're all back home again. And that's where it got a little bit difficult for us to record episodes, just so you know, because number one, we didn't want to endanger our staffs to basically go back to the studio or the office, and have an opportunity. I won't call it an opportunity, but a risk of catching the infection. Although, I should say that a lot of people always say, no, I won't get it. You know what? I'm not going to take a chance, because the last thing I want to do is have someone from our company, tell me, hey, I got COVID, and that's it. I don't know. Yeah. Have you had anyone from your side, report that they caught the virus?
Not the ones in my circle, but I do know a friend whose father got it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's kind of it. Other than that, not my close, within my circle lah. Like my nephew's classmate got it also, but it's not related to me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. For me, it was really close. My wife's grandmother got it, and my wife's uncle got it. But you know what? That's how close this circle is becoming when it comes to possibilities of people getting infected and stuff like that. So today's we got a guest today. Here's the backstory on how we met this person. You may question me, but let me explain. So, I went on Clubhouse. Clubhouse, is an iOS, currently only available for iOS.
Totally not FOMO.
Yeah, totally not FOMO, yes. But, I use a Samsung, but my wife has an iPad. So, I use the iPad, screw it. Went online, decided to have a little Mamak sessions together with Ryan and Dennis and everyone. And to be honest, we had no direction. And next thing you know, we asked people to basically come up and ask questions. But because we were talking about COVID, we were talking to a few people who came up and said that, I caught COVID. I was COVID positive. 2 of them. And they were, number one, they were so brave to basically talk about their whole entire experience. And some of them were saying that, yes, we were told to stay home, but we still went out. And, they were they're regretful. But they're both fine. All right. And then we had a frontliner actually join us up on stage to talk, and that frontliner, his name is Issac. He joins us today. We'd like to say a big warm welcome to Issac. Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Issac.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Because, look, we had a conversation the other night, and my team were like,
sure.
My team were like, dude, we should have recorded this as a podcast episode, and people need to listen to this. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. But the thing is, that night wasn't really planned, so this is planned. Okay, so Issac, for the for the benefit of all our listeners listening right now, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah. So my name is Issac, Dr. Issac. You don't necessarily need to call me Dr. Issac in this session. It's really a Mamak section. I basically have been working for the past 5 years as a full-age MO in one of the hospitals in Klang Valley. I am not trained in infectious disease. Okay, I am actually from a ear, nose, throat background, but I have been drafted. I use the word drafted because we needed a lot of doctors to handle the COVID situation in our own hospitals, and a lot of doctors were getting sick, a lot of frontliners were getting sick, and the beds were piling up. So basically they had to pull in doctors from each and every different department to come and take care of patients. Yeah, so I've been taking care of COVID patients for the past 1 year since the pandemic happened. At first, at the gates of the hospital, which is the emergency department, and recently for the past 3 months were taking care of COVID patients in the ward.
Wow. That's that's insane, right? I mean, like, I know that's the whole reason why I got Shu Fei to come aboard, because I'm pretty sure she wants to listen to this.
Yeah, because I wasn't in a clubhouse session, so I know nothing.
Yeah, I know, but like listening to that, like, it's just pretty insane. You have been taking care of COVID patients. You're an ENT specialist, right?
I'm
Training, okay, on the way. All right, you're going to be an ENT specialist soon.
Yeah.
All right, soon.
Yeah.
But you had to sort of put that on hold because, you know, they needed doctors, they needed extra hands to maintain the situation.
That's correct.
How do you feel right now?
Well, honestly, at the beginning, we were thinking like, okay, I was a bit disappointed, but not because of my management, but more of we were handling so well. Then suddenly another surge happened and we have to be drafted. But when you're in this training, in this industry, altruism and self-sacrifice has always been embedded in you. So yeah, we have to just, pull ourselves up and have to serve, basically.
Yeah, you're like I can't really say that you're like an army, right? I mean, like, you're the defender of the country. I mean, technically you are. I mean, you're a frontliner.
I wouldn't be labeled as army personnel, but in this front, we are one of the many people fighting this invisible enemy.
Yeah. And of course, the cases obviously surged. All the frontliners are tired. All the frontliners are, like, you know, infected. All the frontliners are suffering. Can you talk about that from your standpoint?
Well, basically, everyone has been working very, very hard. Most of our annual leaves are on hold. We cannot take breaks for some hospitals. I can't say for the hospitals outside of KL, but I do have friends who tell me that they didn't have a break for an entire year. Yeah, been working non-stop. And the people who are contact tracing, they've been working Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, look at our DG. He's been working since day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has not even rest or sleep. I see him tweeting at 3 a.m. in the morning sometimes.
Oh, wow. I mean,
Are your shifts like the whole day?
So it really depends on where are you posted. If you want to know what is the fight of COVID in our country is like, basically it can be divided in the administration side. Okay, the contact tracing departments, which is mostly handled by the Jabatan Kesihatan Daerah there. All right, these are the local district health officers that try to localize patient detection and all the contact tracing. And you have the team in the hospitals that handles the patients which are positive with COVID. So, and you have a lot of other supporting staff together with this entire huge organization.
Right. And with regards to like contact tracing, sorry to cut you off there, but okay, contact tracing means like, okay, if somebody was tested positive, then you need to do contact tracing to see where this person had been and stuff like that, etc., etc., etc. So at least you'll be able to kind of like see who else is at risk and stuff like that. How hard is it to contact trace? Because for me, I know that we have to scan wherever we go, but is that system working?
For the fact that we have the My Sejahtera system, okay, it actually helps lighten the burden to contact trace, okay? But it really, really depends on the honesty of the individual, whether he scans in or not, or whether they report the symptoms, all right? So we do have the database, all right? But whether or not the patient was tested positive and whether they were tested in the public facility or the private facility, that really affects of how we contact trace. Because if you are tested in a government facility, okay, the reporting goes direct to the district office and we can contact trace quite fast.
Okay.
But when you get it from the private sector, sometimes there is a bit of delay, and sometimes there's also some concealment in the offices or the location they were tested positive, and that really puts a stop or really impedes us to fully contact trace. But yeah, it's a real tiring stuff.
Wow.
I can give you an example actually. Not just the outbreaks outside. If you have an outbreak within the hospital,
Yep.
okay, and you have, let's say, a nurse or doctor who is positive, or patient that came in positive without any protection, okay, it really takes. But we got used to it. We just, essentially we need at least 24 hours or 8 hours, the very fastest we can do it, to trace who has been in contact for the last 14 days or the most recent 3 days. Yeah. So we have to generate a list very, very fast, and with the help of technology like MySejahtera and our internal protocols, we can bring up the list very fast.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now that you mentioned contact tracing and how hard it is to contact trace, right? And then when you go on your Insta stories and you see some of your friends basically partying like nobody's business, how do you feel about that?
Well,
I'm okay. Look, I definitely you have seen some, right? Come on, let's not lie.
yeah, I have seen some, but I will be always the wet blanket and say that, oh, okay, are you living a different world that I am? Are you not experiencing the people that I'm experiencing? Are you not seeing all the people who are suffering in the hospitals or the death that's happening? And sometimes I agree. They have this what we call the pandemic fatigue,
Yep.
the cabin fever. They want to get out, but I will think that if you want to do something, you need to do it responsibly. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Wait, did you guys see the video? I saw a video on Facebook, right? I don't know is it legit or not, but I think it is lah. So they show all the COVID positive people, right? They were staying in like it's a very big hall. I don't know what is it called lah, but it's a very big hall. Then like everyone was just chilling there, like they were having so much fun. Like they brought like like those like just basically board games that they can play. Then everyone was just having fun. Then there was this person, he was just like giving a tour around. Everyone was like so chill.
Yeah, so basically that is what is happening in one of our quarantine centers. Could be in Sabah, it could be in Sedang, the MyApps low risk quarantine center. So I explained during one of the clubhouse sessions, whereby when you were you're basically asked to go quarantine yourself in these quarantine centers. Have you seen the movie Maze Runner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, what happens? That's what happens. A siren will sound, and the drawbridge will go up, and then the people will cheer inside. That you are welcome to quarantine.
Can you imagine this? Okay, all of a sudden you're just minding your own business in the quarantine center, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden. Okay, we have patient number 100,024. Welcome to Maps. Welcome, that's right.
Something like that, but not that fun. I mean, you should be that DJing it, I guess.
Oh no! I don't.
So yeah.
But right, I have a question though. I don't know if it's stupid or what lah, but like, cause like you put all the COVID positive patients together, right?
Yes.
Doesn't it like make it harder for them to recover? Yeah, because they're all still together, no?
Yeah, so that's something that I like to address actually. Once you get COVID, particularly if you already get the same strain, you basically won't infect someone else unless you got a different strain, like coming from the UK or from South America or South Africa. These are the three main strains that we as healthcare workers are quite worried about. Okay. But if everyone is from Malaysia and we quarantine in the same place, basically there's no need for social distancing, to be honest, because everyone is already positive.
Right.
Yeah. The number two is if you're already recovered, basically if you have no problem and you recover after day 10, you're no longer infective. Basically, you can go back to work, you can go back to your own homes, and you would not infect your family members or your co-workers.
Okay. Yeah, but what happens if, like, say for example, you go into the quarantine center, right? You're there for like 14 days. On the 10th day, you're fine, okay? You're not infectious anymore. And then when you walk out, you pass one guy who just checked in. Will you get reinfected? I don't know. I mean, like...
No,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a legit question. I think I really get where you're coming from, Jin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, if you're positive, okay, and you pass by someone that was just beginning of the infection,
Yeah.
data has shown us that you would not get a reinfection at least 3 to 6 months. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like chicken pox lah, basically.
Chickenpox is lifelong.
Yeah, lifelong lah.
but
But this one like got few months lah.
Is it
That's
because
what we are.
is it because your body has built some sort of immunity against the strain that you were just infected with, or it's just like
Correct.
oh okay
So that's how the vaccines work actually. So that's how we are confident if we group a bunch of people who are positive together, they won't get reinfected very, very, very fast. Basically, maybe the next 3 to 6 months. That's what data is actually telling us. And that is how the vaccines are actually helping us later on, what we hope for. But we do not have enough data whether or not it's a lifelong immunity.
right okay
So far, we have seen it gives us an immunity at least 6 months. So we are gunning. We don't have enough evidence yet to say that it gives us maybe 5 to 10 years. Maybe it could be something like anyone had an influenza vaccine before?
okay I was about to order an influenza vaccine. But they said that at that point in time, I can't remember when it was. I think it was just like last a year or 2 years ago, where all of a sudden a lot of the pharmaceutical companies started giving me a call and they said that, hey, we want to talk about the flu shot. You see, that's the thing. I'll be very honest. When they talk to me about the flu shot, right? What I think is a flu is a running nose, and and that's it. And I sneeze a lot. That's the flu. To me, that's the flu. And then after when they talk about it, it's like, no, this is H1N1. I'm like, huh? I'm like, oh, why? Then only I realized that, oh, this is the vaccine to kind of like immune yourself from H1N1. I was trying to order it, but apparently it was like out of stock, or it was like not attainable at that point of time. But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if it's correct, but what I did was, because I have a kid, right? So I ordered an influenza vaccine from the how do you pronounce it?
Pediatrician.
A pediatrician, okay. So my daughter is vaccinated, but obviously we cannot take advantage lah. Doesn't mean he got stock. We go there, vaccinate my daughter, vaccinate me, vaccinate my wife. They were like, I'm sorry, this is a pediatrician. This is for children only. So we prioritize pediatrician, and I commented to that. Because we were asking lah. Being typical people say
Malaysian parents.
Yeah, Malaysian parents. Hey, so if my daughter vaccine, can I also get extra? I said no. I mean, kudos to them for being really strict about it. I really, really respect that. So I want to, but at this point of time, I don't know if we should. Should we?
So let's get back to the influenza vaccine that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes, you were correct that we had a shortage of influenza vaccine because at that particular time, before COVID hit our shores, we had an influenza outbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a time that all of us had a shortage of vaccine, but we had a weapon that was able to protect us Malaysians, the world, from the influenza virus. Okay, so influenza vaccine protects someone from the H1N1 or whatever strain that particular year the influenza has been mutated to.
Yep.
You see, so influenza has different strains, but you need to take it yearly.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
So that
okay.
you get protected from that different strain. So what we are conceiving that perhaps COVID would be something like that in future.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So that it's obviously gonna be tough to attain. But the thing is, I had a conversation with some friends who are doctors lah. I was asking, okay, so look, the other day, if I'm not mistaken, I think like Dato' Aznil posted something online saying that, asking whether he could buy the COVID vaccine and so that he could vaccinate himself a lot earlier, but at the same time also dump in a whole bunch of money to also vaccinate his fans that need it. I mean, he was doing a good deed, but I don't know. There were some mixed conceptions about it. I mean, some people were like, hey, you think you who? That kind of thing. Because obviously, number one, they had to prioritize the frontliners. And after the frontliners, they have to prioritize the vulnerables, right?
Vulnerable group.
Yeah.
Can you actually... Okay. Then I spoke to some friends who are doctors. They said that you can't buy the vaccine. You have to wait for it to be administered to you through the government. So, like, what is what? Can a private hospital buy the vaccine, and can people buy the vaccine?
okay, a lot of these things are being laid out by the government, by the Ministry of Health, which is headed by the National Vaccination Program, which is headed by YB Kyrie.
Oh, yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And he recently, I just want to highlight out, it's a very good move that he recently made a statement to say that all foreign workers,
Yes.
foreign personnel or their family members who are foreigners, as well as undocumented foreigners, will get the vaccine free.
That's good. Yeah, I read that.
Move.
I kind of think that Kyrie, I'm sorry to say this, but like, the only thing that I kind of applaud is Kyrie. The only person I will applaud right now is DG, Hisham, of course, and Kyrie. They're doing a great job. I think Kyrie, I mean, he's the Minister of Science and what way? Why is he heading the vaccine? I thought that the Ministry of Health will be the ones actually handling the vaccine, but Kyrie is actually doing it instead.
I think it's proper where you can divide your work, and since that the Minister of Science and Technology is under his purview of obtaining certain new technologies, so I think it's appropriate under his portfolio.
Right.
And the Ministry of Health, by example, is already burdened with contact tracing and treating
Understand.
COVID patient. I think that is fine. But let's go back to the topic of whether or not you can actually buy vaccine.
Yes.
To be honest, at this juncture, we have a supply problem in Europe and in the United States.
Right.
You see, so very interestingly, that I have colleagues who are in the UK. They had the first vaccine, which is Pfizer, but they have a problem getting the second Pfizer jab. So the UK just recently announced that you can mix and match the vaccines.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, if you get Pfizer the first jab, you may get AstraZeneca the next jab. Okay, because there is a shortage, even in the UK, even in the European countries. So, at this point of time, Malaysia, whether or not private hospitals and clinics they get the vaccine or not, it is still unsure.
Okay.
And majority what you're gonna get is from the government.
Right.
Okay. But there are certain parties that are negotiating with the government to see whether or not it can roll out the vaccine faster by recruiting the private sector. I mean, it's not very expensive.
Okay.
To be frank, and one is hopeful that if you open up the market to the private hospitals and the private clinics to obtain the vaccines, the vaccination rate will actually be faster.
Yeah. Okay.
But I saw a lot of people, they were quite skeptical about the vaccine actually. I think it was the Ministry of Health that posted a poll on Facebook. I remember, I think it's the legitimate one because I saw the verified. And then I was reading the comments. Then a lot of people were like objecting to bring the vaccine in.
Yeah. I mean,
That
that's a
was
good
like
point,
months
actually.
ago lah.
yeah, what's your thoughts about that? Okay, I think like again, correct me if I'm wrong, Shufei. Some of the
Yeah.
comments were like saying, "Oh, why should I take a vaccine? Normally vaccines take 10 years to produce, but this one is like in a year. So can I trust them?" And a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, no, don't take Pfizer. The reason why they're rushing out fast is because they want money." So at least all these type of conspiracies that are coming out, you know what I mean? And some people are going as far to even spread a false rumor of such where, even the top management of people from Pfizer would not take the vaccine. That kind of thing. It's
but some of their reasoning are quite reasonable lah for me. Like for some of them, they say like, how do we know if like long-term effect, what will happen? Yeah, because like it has been released like not long ago, right? So they don't know what's the long-term effect. Maybe short-term effect, you can't see anything, so they would think it's okay. But over time, you don't know what will happen.
The long-term
so I
side
think they were
effects.
quite concerned about that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to go based on what the comments were based on as what has been already been told by very good experts and my mentors, who is Dr. Musa, and also addressed by the DG, is that any vaccine you get that is already out and available in Malaysia, you should get it. Okay, why? Because this new vaccine is not something that has been concocted within 1 year. The research towards the vaccination for coronavirus has been ongoing since SARS, which was 10 to 12 years ago. Okay, and then the reason why the vaccine was not released at the particular time for that particular strain is because social distancing, within the country, as well as SOPs were adhered to, as well as immigration borders were adhered to, controlling these strains. Like subsequently after SARS, there is the MERS-CoV virus.
Yeah.
It's the same family of coronavirus coming from the Middle East. So research has been ongoing for these two particular viruses, the progeny of COVID-19. And when you have an accelerated need, like the global pandemic, that affects a lot of world economies, all right, that is where money is being poured in. So something can occur very, very fast. Research can run very, very smoothly if there's a lot of money pouring in.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Also.
It's like, it's okay. A lot of people tend to always have this misconception. Oh, COVID only happened last year, but COVID is actually coronavirus. COVID-19 is coronavirus 2019. It's like COVID is the code name. Coronavirus, and 19 is when the year it was discovered. So if it was discovered in 2020, it's going to be called COVID-20. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And if it's going to be discovered like in 2025, it'll be COVID-25, you know, that kind of thing.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But
yeah, I know. But like a lot of people have this misconception like, this virus grew in 2019. So how can you freaking come up with a vaccine, in less than a year and stuff like that? But okay, coronavirus has been around for a long time. Like you mentioned, like SARS. I remember SARS. I'm not sure if Shu Fei was. Were you born?
Yeah. I was.
But I think Malaysia. But I think at that point of time, right? Malaysia didn't get it that bad. I think Singapore had to close their borders.
correct.
Yeah, and it's also a coronavirus, right? But the thing is, it's named as SARS. So okay.
So what happened was, why is it different? Is because somehow the coronavirus has mutated so that it's very easy to spread among human beings. That is the problem with this global pandemic, you see. And what happens is why the vaccines can be developed so fast is because we already have a basic knowledge. And then China, when they had the virus in the first place, it was really unprecedented. They released the entire genome of the virus, which really helped and spurred the vaccine creation and research, you see.
Right.
So going back to the question whether or not that we should be worried about the side effects, this is something I like to stress upon. If you dive, you have a higher chance of getting COVID and dying from COVID, that you have a higher chance of getting the vaccine and dying from the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
So in medicine, there's a lot of things of risks and benefits, you see.
True.
What we see that if you're getting the COVID virus, it's pretty dangerous. And the side effects, not to say side effects, the complications and consequence of getting COVID, it's even if you recover from it, it's pretty severe. So getting the vaccine, and especially if you are eligible to get the vaccine, meaning you're healthy, you're more than 18 years old, you're less than 65 years old, you don't have any problems in health, you can get it, and you can protect yourself and those who cannot get it.
Right. I just want to ask you. You said that as long as you're above 18 and below 65 years old, are you trying to? Does it mean that if you're above 65 you can't take the vaccine because there's a risk or something?
So the age limit was actually has been recommended by certain countries, because why they put those age limit first is because they based on the clinical trial data. Okay, so each clinical trial data have some safety profiles. So far they have enough safety profiles for those who are 18 and above, and those who are 65 years and below. Okay, and which is the majority of the population. And we would want the vaccine to be, because these vaccines have been accelerated to be approved, you see.
Right.
And then we have given this approval. Sorry, not we. The clinical trials, the drug companies were able to test these groups of people. All right, and then they give it to the indication that these are the people that should be given first. All right, if there is not entire huge complications later on, they will revise. This is basically what happens in each and every medication that has been going on to the market. Not every medication will give to anyone that is like young or very, very frail and old, you see.
Okay, so what if so I'm asking because like my mom is above 65 and
65,
she's diabetic, right? So now that you say that, it kind of gets me a little like worried. But do you think do you think she'll be offered a chance to actually get vaccinated, or are they just going to go strictly with the above 18 and below 65 for now?
It really depends on the country. I'm not in the position to comment on the government policies because they always need to see new data that was being given up to by other countries. But so far, what we see is everyone that gets it, especially in Singapore, especially in the UK, especially in the United States. There were a lot of elderly people who got it.
Right.
They didn't have any huge problems.
Okay.
So the problem with media is they sensationalize one or two side effects, and not necessarily those things are the side effects of the vaccine.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and some or rather they are already frail and old. I think one of the articles was saying in the European country there was one whereby a few nursing home residents died after taking the vaccine.
Yep.
Oh.
They were already 90 something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So what is the safe bet now is you have to put a certain level of trust to the government that is why our vaccine is taking some time to roll out, you see, in Malaysia. We have a National Pharmaceutical Authority. We check through, even though that it's something like the FDA of Malaysia.
Yep.
So we have our own standards that we need to check through first to verify the information that the drug company gives us.
Right.
And then we will give our recommendations based on the drug company's recommendation, based on the countries that have already been vaccinated and what are their criteria of getting it. Yeah, so that's how they determine who should get the vaccine and whatnot.
I see. Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, like, the vaccine, right? What is the the immunity rate for it? Because, like, for example, right, if like people like us, we take the vaccine, then they will think like, oh, since I took the vaccine already, I most likely I won't get the COVID anymore,
Virus,
right? So I can just go out and like do whatever I want.
People will think that they're Superman after they get the vaccine. It's like,
exactly.
I'm invincible. I can go out, party, go clubbing.
Yeah, exactly. So is it like 100% immunity rate?
I think the major challenge in Malaysia is two things about the vaccine. Number one is vaccine awareness, whereby we need to educate the people about the vaccine safety and whether you should convince people to get the vaccine, number one. Number two is those people who are already convinced on getting the vaccine, how should they conduct themselves after taking the vaccine?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a very good point.
I kind of feel like when the vaccine is being rolled out, the first thing you're gonna get is a lot of people freaking like taking selfies of themselves, Insta story of themselves. Hey, just got the vaccine.
I'm
just got the
COVID
vaccine.
free.
I'm COVID free, y'all. # blessed. Like
Yeah.
that.
So now I want to make it clear. I'm not sure whether I'm very sure that the ministry has already tried to emphasize on it, and the WHO has emphasized on it.
Yep.
But once you get the first jab, doesn't mean that you're protected yet. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Once you get the first jab, and you need to have the second jab for at least maybe a month later or 3 weeks later.
Yeah, I saw that 21 days. You need to go back and get the second jab within 21. It's like a hepatitis jab. Like you
Exactly.
get one, and then you go back in 90 days, and then get another one. The hepatitis jab. This was a joke. I went to the doctor, and then get my hepatitis jab because they said that you need to kind of like top up, right? Went there, got a jab.
Correct.
Now after that, I kind of missed the mark after 90 days.
Oh no.
So I went and hey, I'm here to get my second jab. She looked at my card. You idiot! I told you to come back in 90 days. Then you have to redo it again. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So I think right now everybody needs to kind of like listen to the authorities and not be their own doctors. So yeah, and then don't give excuses. My excuse to the doctor was like, oh sorry, I was busy. No, health is not an excuse. I'm like, okay, fine, sorry doctor, sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, so I will get a lot of questions later on, or if I'm still working in the front lines later, that doctor, I already got jabbed. Why did I get COVID? Then I would look at the date and say, okay, you just got jabbed 1 week ago. Doesn't mean that you're already protected.
Oh,
But what if they got the
Yeah.
second jab already? Then they still think like, I'm protected, so I can just do whatever I want. Doesn't matter.
So
Cause you want
basically,
to-
how the vaccine works is, okay. A few things I want to say that if you have friends and family who had COVID, right, they should also get jabbed as well.
Yeah. So it doesn't. Yeah.
Uh, the
Okay.
reason, the reason meaning that once the body gets the COVID virus infected or they get jabbed the first time, your body has an immunity.
Right.
But that immunity, that memory will go down as time progresses, you see. That's what we say that maybe 3 to 6 months, the memory may disappear. All right. So that is why we need to retrain your body 1 month later so that they mount better immunity later.
Right. Okay. Wow. I like, for me, if you ask me, yeah, I'm so for it. I definitely want to get it. And what you mentioned earlier on is that you have a higher chance of, like, getting COVID and dying from it than a higher chance of getting the vaccine and dying from the vaccine. So for me, it's like, yeah, of course I get it. But for me, I just wish, like, like if it was available, I could just vaccinate everyone in my household all at the same time. Because
Yeah.
imagine if my
I get it.
mom was vulnerable and she got the call to get vaccinated, right? But, like, you have her being vaccinated, but the rest of us are not being vaccinated in the house, and we are at risk too. So how, like, like, how do you like right now?
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I can't explain it, but, like, everybody wants to be safe.
how do they prioritize
Because you see, the thing is, they always keep saying, at one point in time, people were being very, very negligent about the whole situation because they, you know what, COVID is only risky to the older people. We young people, we have a higher immune system, so we're not
Yeah.
gonna die, right? So, like, for me, is you're looking at the cases. I've seen some deaths that are as young as 34, some is 23 as well. So there's I don't think there's an age gap or an age limit. The COVID virus doesn't
Yeah,
come to,
that's
hey, how
very
old are you?
true.
Oh, you're 23. Okay, never mind. It's all right. Hey, how old are you? 65. You're mine. No, but no, I don't think the virus is gonna do that. So, like, how, like, who is it? I like, actually, to be honest, cut long story short, I would still like to assume that everybody is at a very high risk if they get COVID. Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, I'd like to basically break down what you're trying to say into two things. Number one would be whether or not a household would be vaccinated at the same time. Really depends on our national vaccination program headed by YB Kyrie. So far, like what I get is I actually got the date already to get vaccinated. Hopefully, will be on the 26th of February.
Oh,
See?
wow.
It's pretty
Okay.
close.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really coming already. But I did ask whether or not my family member was going to get it together
Right.
with me. They say no. They're reserving the doses for the frontliners, you see.
Okay.
And then the issue where the vaccine will be given to teachers, to police officers, to
Yes.
other frontliners, and cleaners of the hospitals maybe. We are not sure. So there are a lot of things are still being ironed out, okay, to be a foolproof plan. But yeah.
Okay.
We're still not sure yet. But yeah, it's a good idea to be brought up for discussion to the National Vaccination Committee, you see. That's number one. Then number two is, yes, COVID is not an old people disease.
Yeah,
I
it
would
is
say.
not. It is not. Yeah.
Not.
Because, it's not. Because, to be honest, right, I get sometimes quite frustrated. Remember, Shufe, during the first MCO, we all were panic, The minute they announced MCO on the 18th of March, right? That means 17th of March, we were out shooting. Okay, we were like, hey, everybody, all right, you know what, bye-bye, you know what, hey, blah, 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 blah. On the 18th, right, straight away, like, your mindset just changed. You go out to do
Yeah.
groceries, you wear gloves, you wear a hoodie, I wrapped myself like a ninja. I went out to Empire Subang, and I was always giving the eye or like the judgment when someone is basically like really, really close to me. And all that happened in just one day. And then at that point in time, the cases were like 100 plus. And now you're like averaging about like 3,000 and up daily. And it feels like nobody else is kind of giving a shit. But like, I don't know. Okay. Do you feel, and you can be completely honest with us, do you feel Malaysians are taking this whole situation seriously?
I think that Malaysians are tired.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sums up how everyone is feeling. We'll be like, do I have to talk about COVID again?
Mm-hmm.
Do will have to listen to SOPs again. I don't even want to see DG's face on the Facebook Live again. Yeah, that's basically what everyone is always raining.
Oh no, it's a thunder. You said something wrong. Okay. Yes, we want to see DG's face every day, you know, at 5 to 5:30 or maybe 6 o'clock. Okay, yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, but basically what everyone is actually feeling right now is really that fatigue.
Okay, I
But
understand.
somehow or rather, when things goes close to home, like what happened to you, Jin,
Yeah,
it really jots that memory back.
yeah.
Okay, I have actually a personal experience to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, like when I work in the COVID ward, most of us are actually quite protected. You see,
Yeah.
I can say that most of our staff didn't get COVID so far.
Okay.
So we've been all quite protected, and we go home. Even when we're home, my SOP with my parents and my siblings are pretty lax. Even though I'm working in the COVID ward, you see.
Right.
But they advise us to be very protective of our family.
Right.
If possible, stay in a separate house or stay in a separate room or use a separate toilet. That's what they advise us, you see.
Right.
But working so long in the COVID ward and without seeing your staff getting infected, you also feel that fatigue. That when you're sitting together, you want that companionship when you're eating lunch.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very true.
So you tend to forget lah about the whole.
So what happened was, I was having night shift with a colleague of mine. Okay, and then we was like sleeping in the same room, in the same ventilations, and then he was sleeping with his mask on. I can't sleep with my mask, so I have to take it out, and I was asleep.
Yep.
The next day, he told me that he was having chills.
Oh.
Right, that's very weird. Okay, then I said, just let me have a look at your throat and listen to your lung. And it was very, very red, like not normal sore throat red. It's like very, very red. And I was okay, you're having chills, you're having this weird sore throat. Can I just check the temperature? And he was 39.
Oh.
God. So he was like playing it down. He was being cool. He said, no, I don't think I get it so far. There's nothing. No one has had it. I think it's not COVID. And I
Yeah.
told him, no, we need to follow the SOP. If you're having fever, we would swab you. So
Right.
there and then we swab him and we sent him home.
Okay.
And then what happened?
So true enough, he was positive.
Oh, shit.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, true enough, he was positive. And because of that, majority of the people who were working with him and quite closely were working with him,
Yep.
who ate together, who slept in the same room, had to be quarantined. You
Oh,
see?
wow.
So service was disrupted a little, but quickly they were recovered. I mean, a lot of other people were pulled in to support
replace
the
them
work.
lah.
Yeah, correct, to replace us. So when that happened, and it really freaked my family out.
Yeah. I'm sure. Of course, dude.
Yeah, it really freaked me out as well. But thankfully, somehow or rather, I was negative after the 14 days of quarantine. you
Right.
see.
So you had to swap twice, lah,
Yeah.
right? One initially.
Yeah, had to swap
okay.
twice.
All right.
Yeah, so in healthcare workers, basically will swap twice if you're very, very close to the contact person.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so when that happened, and I was thinking about it, I said, all right, even though we're in the same room, and then we were like sleeping next to each other, but it's quite far apart, you see, and he was wearing a mask and I wasn't wearing a mask. Somehow I feel that, okay, it's not that bad as long as you have SOP.
Yeah. Okay. Understand. You were far apart.
You're far apart.
Unless
and
of course you
wearing
were
a mask.
Unless of course you were hugging him, using him as a human bolster. You probably got it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's nothing to joke about. But sometimes serious conversations I kind of like want to throw in a little bit to kind of lighten things up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So other than that, it really jot back to reality. Is that all right? I have to be very, very strict with my SOPs with my own family members as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's true. So when in the general public as well, when they feel they had too much information, if it happens to you and it happens close to home, you will start to rethink. And that's what happens in Clubhouse when I recently been talking to a lot of patients who have
Yep.
family members or who themselves were positive.
Yeah. It's I mean, like, for the benefit of our listeners who are listening, we lost a family member to COVID, but I won't go too much into detail. It happened. It happened in the span of 2 weeks, and for us, straight away, it even got us even more paranoid. We were already paranoid because I have a kid at home. When and our shoots, we take like an SOP really seriously. We had to burn a lot of money just to get the whole entire crew being swab tested, to make sure to ensure that everybody on set doesn't have to worry about anything, because when you act, you're gonna be, the actors are definitely gonna be in close proximity, right?
Yep.
So I won't lie, we had a couple of scares too, but none within the first circle of crew members. It was always in the outer circle. Like we shot a film like for Chinese New Year. Everything was great, and it's become sort of like a nightmare every time after a shoot, right? Every day your phone rings, you'd be like, okay, who's calling? You don't want your producer to call. Every time my producer calls, I will freak out. I'll pick up the phone. Yes. Boss, I just want to ask you a question. Oh, okay. There was one day the phone rang. I was like caught unaware. I was like, yeah, what's up? Then he's like, hi, boss. This is the call that nobody wants to hear. I was like, oh crap.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap. I was like, what happened? Okay, one of our extras didn't get positive, but his parents were tested positive, and they all lived in the same household. And straight away I freaked out, and I was like, straight away set my whole entire team to go and test no matter what. All came back negative, but the boy whose parents tested positive, the boy tested negative. But that at that point in time, all of us were sitting down. My wife was sitting down. We were like, didn't know what to do. Okay, should we get tested? Should we get tested? Should we get tested now? Whatever not. We look at each other. Are you having symptoms? Are you sure? Every time I sneeze, she looks at me. She coughs, I look at her. You know what I mean? And that fear is real. I don't want anybody to feel what I went through. Because it's no fun. You can't sleep. And my wife was unable to sleep for a few nights. And it's. I don't know, man. I do not wish for anyone to go through what I went through, because it's not fun. It gets real, and especially when it happens within your circle, your family circle, it gets really, really real. And that's why, it's also really, really great to have you on this show to talk about it, to tell people, what you're going through, how people are going through, with regards to the pandemic, and talking about vaccines as well. But here's another question I kind of want to ask you. Like, okay.
Sure.
When you get COVID and you heal from it, in the news there have been people saying about how after you recover from COVID, there are some damaging effects, or some long-term damaging effects to your body. Is that true? Has it been proven to be true?
There have been new evidence. What I want to just give a comment about that is, most of the patients that I seen are recovering from COVID.
Yep.
I mean, your wife's relative was pretty old as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and then she recovered without a scar, I think.
Yeah. So my wife's grandmother got COVID, and she was asymptomatic. She did not show any symptoms. She's about, I think, I'm not sure how old she is, but she's about 80, more than 80, I think. And she was fine. But they did check up on her. She said her lungs is a little bit infected, but they don't think it's because of COVID. And they gave her medication and stuff like that, and she's fine now. She's at home. I mean, quarantining, but even though she doesn't have to, but she's like staying at home and making sure that nobody comes over and stuff. So she's like really, really scared right now.
Yeah, so we do see certain patients who have no symptoms or have very, very mild symptoms. But those people who have very bad symptoms, which I can say maybe out of 100, 40 are category 2 and 3 and 4 and above.
Okay.
So basically 40%. These people, they may have some symptoms and some post-COVID symptoms as well. So it is true. And data is being gathered as we speak. We do not have enough information yet, okay? But certain, what I want to explain to you is why COVID is actually dangerous. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, what COVID actually does to your body is it comes in, it replicates, okay? So it may affect the nose, makes you lose taste or smell. It attacks the lungs, okay? Makes you to have a typical pneumonia or normal sore throat, you see.
Yeah.
But certain people may have a body reaction to this infection.
Right.
And this is the reaction that doctors are worried about. Okay. So when it's typically something like, it's not exactly like an allergic reaction, but it's similar. Okay. It's what we call a cytokine storm. Okay. Basically what your body does is your body overreacts. It produces a lot of chemicals and attacks everything from your heart to your lungs to your brain, everything. Okay? Yeah, you think I'm saying something wrong, but actually
No, it's true. No, it's like,
No, it's trying to make the situation more,
intense, dude.
more intense.
It's so funny that he's explaining it, but as and thunder and lightning in the background, it's like a freaking horror story. But sorry, go on.
yeah, it's not a side effect. It's not a sound effect.
Okay, got it.
So what I'm saying that when the body has this cytokine storm, this chemical overreaction, okay, that's when inflammation sets in. That's where scarring sets in.
Oh.
So, okay, yeah. So what happens if your lung gets scarred? Okay, you have difficulty for oxygen to be absorbed by the lung, by the blood, okay, and then go into your body. That's one. And what happens if your blood vessels get scarred? You have problems with circulation. So you can see a lot of people getting heart attacks, strokes, what we call thrombotic events. And certainly in children, you read about it online that they say their fingers will have certain clots or rashes at the end of their fingers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how COVID attacks in general, and that's how most of them die.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Basically,
Yeah, I
COVID
know. That's
opened-
the real truth that what I see and what most of the doctors see.
Okay.
And a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's just a cough, it's just a cough. Not really. When certain people react to it badly,
Yeah.
that's the complication they get it. Okay. Now, if people were able to recover from this body overreaction, this cytokine storm, okay, there are newer evidence coming in to suggest there are some long-term side effects. Most commonly we have heard is fatigue syndrome. Very tired, like you just fight off a very bad infection, your brain gets foggy, you don't feel or have the motivation to work. Even lifting a pen may be a huge task for you.
Right.
It's the side effect of your body overreacting. So because we have experience in treating COVID for the past 1 year, okay, we will identify what are the warning signs and when and where we can give certain medications to reduce these overreactions. Yeah, so thankfully after 1 year of battle and sharing freely sharing information among one another among all the countries, we are able to develop something like a protocol. Okay. The protocol may be different from each country or from each hospital, but there is already a protocol that we can see, and then we are trying to gather as much information whether this protocol is actually working.
Right. Okay. Shufei, sorry, you were about to ask a question. Do you have any question? I felt like you wanted to ask something.
Oh no, so I wanted to say so basically COVID opens up the possibility of just anything that can happen to your body lah.
Yeah, it's something that I as a clinician, I don't really want to get COVID. I don't want to take a chance because basically when you get COVID, COVID actually gives you a dice.
Right.
Yeah, like you can get like any kind of disease.
So your life's a gamble. It's like, what should I give you today?
Which part of your organ will fail this time?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're running out of time very, very soon. Isaac, I really appreciate you really taking your time off to come and discuss about this and tell us about everything that you're doing, educate us about the vaccine. I mean, all in all, after this conversation, the takeaway is I for one would encourage anyone listening to take the vaccine. I mean, again, I'm gonna repeat whatever Isaac was mentioning earlier on. He's like, you have a higher chance of dying from COVID than a higher chance of taking the vaccine and dying from the vaccine. And I feel like, the most important thing is health.
Yeah. I mean, there's a take-home message for everyone here.
Yep.
COVID is not the first virus.
Oh, look at that thunder, man. This is so
That's
scary.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like the virus is similar to a natural occurrence like rain and thunder. It will come and it will go.
Right.
All right. With climate change and the increased population, this is not something new. But you must understand that it's not something to be afraid of. Okay. We have to be vigilant.
Yep.
But we do not have to be impaled by fear.
Got it.
Okay?
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
So
Can I
we
bring
have
up-
to.
Can I bring up one last thing?
Go ahead, man.
No problem.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if like any of you have addressed this already, but like the kit that you tried, Jin,
The
the one
sorry.
that you had to use your blood test on.
Oh, the antigen.
Yeah.
I think the RTK antigen kit where you prick your blood and then you
Yeah.
kind of put it into something, and then after that you put some liquid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really the proper way to test for COVID, right?
Is it called the antigen test?
Basically, now we have 4 types of tests.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So the most common test that you have heard of is the PCR test.
Yep.
Okay. That takes about 6 to 8 hours depending on your lab, and the result will be back to you within 24 to 48 hours, depending on the burden of the lab.
Okay.
Okay. In the Ministry of Health, usually it's about 24 to 48 hours. Then there will be the other tests that use the similar method,
Yep.
which is taking the sample from the nose as well.
Yep.
That is called the rapid antigen test.
Ah.
What it means is PCR test for the RNA of the virus. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Rapid antigen, basically what it tests is it tests the certain decorative proteins on the virus.
I
Okay,
see.
not the genetic material.
Okay.
You see? So it's actually faster, but doesn't necessarily mean very, very accurate. You may already had the virus for, let's say, about 2 to 3 days before you tested positive for the RTK.
Right.
Okay. But having said that, right, RTK is now being promoted for testing and screening in our country. It's because when you have a lot of cases, you cannot rely on the test that needs to run for 6 to 8 hours, you see?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So an example of what is happening is, have you had an influenza test before?
No. How did they do that?
No. Okay. So any test that runs in a kit, right? Influenza was an RTK test, okay?
Right.
Oh,
You basically also swab the nose and the throat, and you put it in the kit and drop a few liquid in, and the test strip will be like a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
If two lines are seen, basically you're positive.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So these kits, they will help a clinician to detect diseases faster.
Right.
Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean it's very, very accurate, but we can isolate these people and we can actually think, okay, if these people are positive, maybe we can confirm with PCR later.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Because
So actually,
sorry, you can go on first.
basically, it's just a few methods we can use to strategize on how to contain this pandemic.
Right.
Okay, because like I saw a lot of stories, people using these kits, and then there were also a lot of people saying like you shouldn't use this method because it's not accurate. So it's like basically like it's a scam lah. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go to the like clinic or like the government to go and swab and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to address is I don't know whether all the labs have told you, but when you go to a proper lab, not the one that they take the blood in, you see, it's the one that is actually swab you from the nose and
Yep.
the throat. That is the one that's actually approved by the government.
I see.
So the ones that swab from the throat and from the nose, there is either the rapid antigen test, the
Yep.
RTK,
Yep.
or the PCR. Okay, so the cheaper one is usually the RTK.
Yeah. That's the one that you prick your
The blood
blood,
test,
right?
ah.
The blood test.
No. There is
no.
also from the nose as well.
Oh,
Of course,
okay.
the people that are selling is the blood one.
Yeah.
It's like it's
The
a
blood
pregnancy
one
test
has
is the
not
blood one.
been approved yet.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of people I see they are buying that one, and
Yeah.
then it's quite cheap. It's
50
less than
ringgit.
100 ringgit.
Yeah, it's 50 ringgit.
So a lot of people are buying that to test for COVID instead of going to like the lab or whatever to take the swab.
I see.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying like, oh, you're not supposed to
So
do
the
this.
so you're saying
effective.
the rapid antigen RTK test is also the nose swab and the throat swab as well lah. And you can do it
Yes.
yourself, is it at home?
So far, not yet.
Okay.
So far, there's not. So far, it's not verified for own home usage yet.
Okay, got it.
So, it have to be done by a clinician first.
Okay.
What I mean is, there's the cheaper one. Okay, even you get the cheaper one and you were tested positive.
Yep.
All right. Most labs will want it's compulsory for you to repeat the test.
Okay,
to get
got
the
it.
PCR.
Okay.
You see.
I see.
So I would say that if you really been in contact with someone that is really positive, that you confirm that the person is positive and you don't have any symptoms,
Yep.
you should get the PCR.
Right.
Honestly, now the method of testing is the KKM has actually recommended if you're in contact with anyone and you have no symptoms at all
Yeah.
and you're not really in a high risk group to stay at home until you have symptoms.
Oh.
Yeah, because they are having that burden. Okay, if you wanted to get the test for free in KKM, you can get the test for free. Actually,
Okay.
you can get it for free from the government
I see.
as long as you come to the government and say you have been in contact with someone that is positive.
Yep.
You're able to tell them the name or the IC or who is actually or the telephone number so they can verify in the system.
Yep.
You see. And then you have symptoms like sore throat, runny nose, cough, difficulty in breathing. The government will test you for free.
Oh.
That's
Okay,
not
okay.
an issue.
Okay.
Okay. But if you have no symptoms, okay, and for your own and PKD has not called you, by all means, and you can pay for it, by all means, test yourself outside. And there
Okay.
are a lot of labs that are giving very affordable testing prices.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, don't use the blood testing kit lah.
Now,
Don't use the blood test. Oh
not
man.
for now.
Okay, I will throw all of my blood testing kits away then. Okay, yeah, Isaac. You know what? We're running out of time, and I'd like
No
to thank
problem.
you. I'd like to thank you once again for really joining us on the show. It's really brought. I mean, it's just very informative.
Very insightful lah,
Very
yeah.
insightful, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show. I feel like our listeners would benefit because like we've never been able to actually speak to any frontliners or any. Although I wanted to. But we just didn't know whether it was the right time to, you know what I mean? And so happened we chanced upon a social platform and whoa, look at that thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be great if you, in future, you invite someone from a few policymakers.
Yep.
I do know a few contacts, and I'll let you know.
Oh, definitely. I hope YB Kyrie listens to this and he comes on the show. I would love to speak to him. Yeah. But anyways, Isaac, take care. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
of course, we are really, really indebted to you for representing the country and making sure that everyone's safe. So, continue doing what you do. And Malaysians, please continue supporting your frontliners. Shufei, before we go, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, stay home, stay safe. Don't go out, please.
Yes.
Please. We must make our country.
Can I
a
say
better-
something?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
better
ahead. Go ahead, Isaac.
I would like to say that actually you all are frontliners now.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
don't lah like that.
Is
Not
that-
really, because your own house, that's your own last line of defense.
Oh,
That's
wow.
We are the ones that we're going to clean up and to help you all later.
Wow.
So
All right.
The last line of defense
Okay.
is all of you.
All right, man. Thank you very much for listening. We'll speak to you guys next time.